You're listening to the AmWritingFantasy podcast. In today's publishing landscape, you can reach fans all over the world. Query letters are a thing of the past. You don't even need a literary agent. There is nothing standing in the way of making a living from writing. Join two best-selling authors who have self-published more than 20 books between them. Now, on to the show with your hosts, Autumn Burt and Jasper Schmidt.
Hello, I'm Jesper.
And I'm Autumn.
This is episode 132 of the AmWritingFantasy podcast. And I've been looking forward to this one because we're going to do one of our competitive top 10 lists today. And perhaps you want to say what the topic of today's lists are and what we're trying to beat each other at, Autumn.
Oh, so today's topic, I've noticed that I think you even came up with the idea of these competitive lists. I think this is just, this might be unhealthy for you. You want to compete so much. But today's topic, so we're going to talk about the 10 worst people to teach magic. And this is definitely going to be fun. I was having giggle fits trying to come up with characters I would never want teaching me magic. So this will be interesting to see who comes up with the worst one.
Yeah, that's we have to conclude that by the end and see which. Well, it's more like the combined 5 worst ones, right?
Yes,
it's more true. Like who made the best or the worst list.
The best worst list. That's a not
the best worst list. Yes,
not confusing at all.
No, not at all.
And I have to admit, I had tons of time to work on this because it rained all weekend here. So I had some good thinking time. How about you? You're probably out refereeing again.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So I was just coming up with my list this morning. So I have not thought about it as much as you have, apparently. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm confident in my list, of course.
Okay. Well, you usually are, but yeah, I usually give you a run for your money, so we'll see.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm too confident?
Possibly. You need to be a little more humble. Admit that I have some pretty good lists.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do admit that. You have a top-notch lists, but mine are just like a bit above. So
we will see. I don't think all the listeners agree with you. Thank you, Dominic.
Oh, no, don't bring that up again.
So how are things over in Denmark?
It's good. You and I were actually interviewed on the Fearless Storyteller podcast yesterday, which was quite fun, by the way. But I'm mentioning that because during that podcast, I said how I finished watching American Gods on Amazon Prime. And I've mentioned how much I love this show on a few of our past episodes here. And I also mentioned that I feared that the show was cancelled by the end of season 3. So that there was no satisfying ending. And that was exactly what I found out happened because I finished up watching the American Gods over the last week. So that's really annoying. I still think it's a great show and I still would recommend people watching it. But then yesterday, or because I was preparing for this podcast episode, I did a bit of digging and a bit of research. And it seems like that American Gods might get a proper ending made, either as a miniseries or perhaps a movie. So, but I don't know if that's just rumors or true, but that's what I could sort of find. But I really hope that that'll happen because I don't know why do the networks do that? I mean, I hate when they create a series and then they suddenly decide just to stop it in the middle of things. I mean, couldn't they at least let the writers' room know that we're going to end it at the end of this season, so come up with some sort of end? I don't get it. Why is that so difficult?
I agree. I think it would be nice to not have an open-ended contract to be like, this is going to be 4 seasons. And, if you do well, we'll come up with like another 1 or 2. But I mean, I've definitely heard Netflix prefers shows that only go like 2 seasons. So the fact they've made it 3 is pretty good. But I mean, then it's like you look at Supernatural. It was 16, 17 seasons. I mean, I watched them all.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them all. But then you see others that are perfectly good shows, and what you can at least let the people wrap it up. And that happened with Lucifer, which I saw the final episodes of that just came out, and I want to watch it, but Adam's not back yet, and we've watched the whole thing together, so I'm waiting till he returns so we can finish up the series. But that one they nearly stopped it, and they did give the writers a chance to write the one last series, thank goodness, because I hate stories that are left hanging.
Yeah, I just find it weird because, surely, no problem that a network decides that, okay, we don't think that there's enough views on this series and therefore we want to end it. No problem. I fully get that. That's fine. But what I don't understand is that they would know that ahead of time. It's not something that they all of a sudden realize that there is no sales on this stuff, right? They will know. So why can't they just tell the writer's room, okay, we're going to do 6 episodes more, and then you need to wrap it up by the end of that because there's probably not going to be anything else.
Yeah.
How hard can that be?
Oh, planning? Oh, okay, so maybe all the producers are pantsers, and they just kind of like wake up one morning going, nah, we're done. And they just keep going, cut the strings right there.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still a product that they are selling to the consumers here, right? As a user of Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever, if I constantly get series on the streaming service that is ended abruptly with no problem, I'm probably not gonna dislike the streaming service because every time I watch a show on it, it doesn't end properly. Whereas if they plan for it and always close their series well, or as well as they can, at least then they should also be getting more happy customers and thereby more people watching their streaming service. So it feels like they're shooting themselves in the foot. And I don't quite understand why.
Yeah, I agree. But then you have some of the writers, if something is popular and enough fans ask for it, then other stars, someone else might pick it up. And I've seen that happen where like the first 3 series are in Netflix and the next 6 are in Stars or HBO Max. And it's just like, okay, it just gets confusing, but I don't know. I guess the world makes even less sense than we realized.
Yeah, and you have a show like, it's old now, but a show like Firefly, which is just like, I really, really liked it. It is so good. And really there was good. So much demand in the fan community that they wanted more, but nobody made it.
No.
So it's not always that.
They did come up with that movie, and honestly, I thought the movie was horrible and did a huge disservice to the actual series. So that's the other problem.
Yeah. So anyway, that was sort of my week. What about you, Autumn?
Well, as you know, I'm currently still alone as my husband's off whitewater raft guiding and learning to do that kind of stuff. So I get to hear every night about his events of falling into hydraulics and holes and having the raft go over his head and just absolutely, it's stuff I would have totally loved in my 20s, but I have to admit there's a part of me looking at him now going, you're getting up at like 5, you're in the bus to go rafting by 5:30, you're off the bus at like 5:30, you have less than an hour to eat something before you go back for some evening classes on raft guiding. Are you like insane? I can't keep up with you.
Right.
So, usually he and I are like, we telegram each other, and we're telegramming, when he's away visiting his parents or I'm away, we're like telegramming each other like every hour and sending each other stickers and things. And I hear from him for like about 15 minutes now. I'm like, this is really weird to not even hear from him more than that. So that's definitely been an adaptation. And plus it rained, like I mentioned, all weekend, and I'm in a tiny cabin in the woods. And it's pouring down buckets, so I can't even go for a walk. And I'm all alone out here, and I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit cabin feverish. I need to leave. So I did go for a walk at least yesterday. Thank goodness I have the dog to keep me entertained. But yeah, there's definitely a time when you're like, I'm not used to being this alone. There's a time I used to be this alone, but this is really alone.
Yeah, I can see that. And you want some locks on your doors as well.
The worst thing out here is the 300-pound black bear, and he's a shy little thing. And then we have a raccoon that has figured out how to open a cooler outside, the little bugger. But besides that, the scariest thing in the woods are people, and no one else really knows where this cabin is. So I'm not that worried about people. But yeah, people are scary. I started watching a Netflix show on true horror stories. Don't do that when you're alone. Don't. People are mean. You just don't want to. Okay, I can deal with ghosts more than I can deal with other people.
Yeah, that's a recommendation passed on then.
Yes, absolutely.
A week on the internet with the AmWritingFantasy podcast.
So I've started working on something new, which Autumn and I will make available to all our listeners and the author community. It is still in the very early conceptual stage, but we are planning to put out a few masterclasses. And I don't think it'll be ready until the fall. But the idea is that these will be Zoom meetings so that everybody can join from the safety of their home. And there will be a recording and all that good stuff for those who can't join live. And then it's gonna be so that by the end of it, we're gonna hook up some sort of a mastermind to it. But more on that later, once it becomes relevant.
I'm excited about
and
this.
I think Go ahead.
Yeah. I just think it'll just be such a great opportunity to reaching out with other authors. And I actually might have picked up a life coaching course that'll kind of go hand in hand with learning some more new, fresh coaching techniques. So I think this will be really kind of fit well in.
Yeah, it will definitely, yeah. But we'll see. But I would really also like to put together some sort of, the first ever AmWritingFantasy in-person event in 2022. I don't know. Do you think that'll be possible with COVID-19 and all that?
As long as one of these new variants aren't going to rule the world, there has been a wonderful research coming out of Brazil that 75% is the threshold. If you get vaccinated above 75%, it is pretty much contained the virus. And if you hit 95%, it's like basically you're fine. Everything is fine and there's like no COVID deaths. So I'm really hopeful 2022 because I love in-person conferences and working with students and more than Zoom, but actually like spending time. So that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I would really like to put some in-person event together for next year. I think that would be really nice. I did hear though as well that there was some people in, I think it was Norway, that they were vaccinated and then they got COVID-19 anyway, and they went to the hospital and they actually died.
Oh,
so, no. So I'm not trying to be a downer, but I'm not so 100% convinced that those vaccines are actually the wonder sort of, it will fix everything medicine that maybe some people think it is.
Yeah, there's always a chance of a mutation that'll be different and go around that. So that's what makes me nervous. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and the vaccine is not 100% either. It doesn't give 100% protection, so you can't be sure. But let's see. We'll keep an eye on things, and however it evolves, and if it goes well, then maybe next year we'll put some sort of, or at least try to see if there's enough interest for an event for next year in person. But let's see. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Anything else to mention before we go on to our lists, Autumn?
Oh, I had something I had thought of, and it's completely out of my head. I'm blaming the pollen. It's, I think the locust trees decided to bloom now that the sun's out, and yeah, my brain is a little... So, well, I'll save it for next time when I remember it.
Okay.
And on to today's topic.
Let's start out by reminding listeners of the ground rules here, just in case we have some new listeners joining us today.
I didn't know there was rules. What?
Well, then it's good that there is a reminder here.
I guess so. All right, what are the rules?
So the idea with the alternating list is that we try to come up with the best suggestions, and by the end, we then should conclude who had the best 5 suggestions. So that's pretty simple and straightforward.
5? See, I thought it was always just the best worst one. No, 5. I think you're changing the rules. I'm going to have to go back and watch one of the other lists.
Yeah, you do that and then come back and tell me I'm right, because it's about having the best list. So, of course, if you have the best entry on the list, then there's a good chance the list as a whole is also the best, but you need to have the best list, right?
I disagree.
Yeah, in my mind, it's always been like that. And then it is like that because that's how I remember it.
I will find proof. If I can find some time to go find some proof. I think you're. Yeah, I think it was
I'm
just
betting
the best
on you
worst.
Won't have time to do it.
Yeah, probably. That's probably a pretty good bet. Wow.
So, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, today's list will be the top 10 worst people to ever teach magic. And we decided that these can be completely made up people, although they don't have to be. So that's up to each of us, whatever we want to include on the list. So I think that should set us up well enough, Autumn.
I think so. I think I'm ready. Now you have me wondering what's going on. You're changing the ground rules. I'm not sure I like this.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm just reminding you of what the rules were. They've always been like that.
No. I disagree. All right. So are we flipping a coin to see who goes first, or do you want me to ease us into this?
I actually think that last time I got to decide who went first, if I remember correctly. So you should decide this time.
All right. I'm going to have you go first then.
Yeah, last time I asked you to go first as well. So it seems like there's a pattern here. Maybe it's best not to go first.
Maybe. I always like to give second in speeches at classes, because that way you weren't the first one, you got it out of the way really quickly, and you could just sit back and enjoy it. So I'll go number 2.
Okay. Well, so my number 5, which is like the least of the bad. What do you say? Least worst?
Least worst.
Something like that. Least worst of the bad ones. That sounded very complicated. Yeah. So number 5, and this one I call Mrs. What Did I Just Tell You?
Uh-oh.
And now, this is not meant in a scolding kind of way, right? It is in fact meant in a I don't remember what I just told you way.
Oh.
So this is the teacher who has absolutely zero short-term memory. So imagine just how terrible that would be. You know, like every single lesson you start over with like 25 times because she can't remember what she just told you.
Or what she taught you.
And then,
yeah.
And then you might try to get clever, and then you think that you're going to invent some sort of system so that, you know, it'll keep her on track. But the problem is she can't remember that system either. So it doesn't matter what you do. She's just lost all the time.
Big chart, and like these are the spells we're working on, and it'll spend half your time doing a whiteboard chart structure of this is where we are, this is where we're going, this is what you said. At least she has a good long-term memory. She still remembers her spells, but yeah, could you imagine you're going halfway through something and then she thinks she's actually doing a different spell, and you'll turn into like a mushroom toad, and that's that.
Yeah, you put it on the board, and then all of a sudden she'll stop and say, "Why is there a board there? What is this?"
I think I'd be looking for another teacher. She'd have to be the only person in the universe who could teach magic for me to put up with that. I'd be getting her lots of ginseng.
It's pretty annoying.
Ginseng helps memory. I'm sure there's got to be a spell for that somewhere if she could only remember it.
Well, yeah, memory spell, that might help.
If she can find one. Hopefully she has some books sitting around. That might be a better bet, is to just go with whatever book she's got in the house.
Yeah, true.
All right. So do you want to know my number 5?
Yes, please.
All right. So this is my easing into your worst potential teachers. Is that you actually find a magical dragon who is willing to teach you. So you're going to have a dragon as your instructor. However, the deal...
That's not too bad.
I know! This sounds perfect, right? Just the deal is if you get the spell wrong, he gets to eat you. Would you take that challenge? Considering, I mean, you have to decide if you trust the dragon enough not to like set you up with a spell that's not going to work.
I don't think that many students will survive that for very long.
I don't know if the dragon cares.
No, probably not. But I don't think it'll get to sort of graduate very many people.
Well, if you do, you're going to be an awesome wizard.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you're gonna have a dragon as your friend afterwards.
Yes, if you can make it through that far. Yes, exactly. So I thought that would be a good start. Something massive and very powerful that gets a little snacky occasionally.
Yeah. Snacky on students. Yeah. I don't know how good
Keep
that
you
is.
on your toes.
But yeah,
Can you imagine not turning in your homework assignment? You're just going.
I think at least what will happen is the students will try really hard not to make mistakes. But
good motivation.
You're bound to make a mistake. You're learning, right? So you're bound to make a mistake sooner or later. Yeah. Not good.
Not good
so
at all.
So that is a pretty horrible teacher for sure.
Yes. All right. Well, at least you can appreciate that one a little bit. You got to see a dragon.
Yeah.
So. All right. You're not that impressed. Well, I can tell.
You always love dragons, yeah? Just put a dragon in and everybody will always like it. So I didn't think about that trick. I should have.
I'm doing good for number 1. All right. Let's go for 4.
Okay, so number 4, this teacher, yeah, is a heavy smoker. She's a gambler.
Oh, jeez.
And she probably has the worst quality a teacher can have. Can you get what that is, Autumn? What is like the worst quality of a teacher?
Well, being always right? I'm not sure. I teach writing, but I don't know I'm trying to think of all the teachers in my life who have annoyed me, and most of them are the ones that never listen to their students.
Yeah, it's not bad. Basically it's like she doesn't care one bit about teaching. So that's pretty on par with what you just said.
That would do it, okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
She doesn't care at all about teaching. In fact, she dislikes her students. I've actually prepared an audio clip with this teacher.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you have an audio clip. Oh, fantastic. All right. Yeah. Let's hear this worst teacher.
So see if you can hear who this is, okay? Here it goes.
I don't want you to worry, class. These tests will have no effect on your grades. They merely determine your future social status and financial success, if any.
Do you know who that is?
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of the name.
Do you want a hint?
But I do remember it. Yeah, I want a hint.
It's a character from The Simpsons.
The Simpsons! Oh, is it she's a brunette. I can't even think of her name, though. I really can't.
I'll try to see if I can pronounce it correctly. Mrs. Crabapple or something like that?
Mrs. Crabapple, yeah. Oh, Crabapple. Yeah, something like that. I can't even pronounce it, but yes, I do remember her. Oh, as a magic teacher, that's mean. That is pretty mean.
I think she would be one of the worst teachers you could have, especially around fireballs. I think that the school will be on fire rather quickly when she's taking like a break and smoking, and she doesn't really care what the kids are doing with the spells. Yeah, that would be bad.
That would be bad, but I have to admit, as a student in her class, you could probably get away with pretty close to murder. So that might actually be kind of fun.
Probably, yes.
I can see
I think so.
the magic toads and newts running around the room, and the owl coming and eating someone's frog, and it would be just chaos. I can have fun in that class. Yes. I might actually do well.
Okay, so you don't think she's that bad of a teacher then, huh?
She's a horrible teacher, but I'm just thinking the classroom chaos as a student would be a blast. It wouldn't be like, you don't have the fear of getting eaten, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, but you would, unless you're like at the top of the pyramid, you would need to be worried about getting bullied because she don't give a crap.
She wouldn't care. Yeah, no. You'd have to either have your little posse that you're teamed up and no one's going to pick on you, or be Hermione and to be like, zap, 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 and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, that wasn't bad. Okay, I'll admit that. Okay. It wasn't a dragon.
Then let me have your number 4. No, okay, I can agree. The dragon is a bit more terrifying. Yeah.
All right. So you're ready for my number 4 then?
Yeah.
This one's pretty simple. It's just you're going to have a teacher. Your teacher today for Magic 101 is a super intelligent AI that has absolutely no magic abilities, but understands the theory very well.
Okay.
Good luck.
But is it able to explain how to actually do the spell then?
It understands the theory. It could tell you the ingredients, wave your hands, the pronunciation, but if there's some other essence that you have to draw, especially like emotions, it doesn't understand emotions at all. So if there's some other layer, like in our spells, like you have to be happy or you're pulling on something internal where you believe in yourself, it doesn't get that. Just try.
Yeah.
Here's a book. Good luck.
No, I see it would be difficult, but it might not be the worst teacher because I think it can teach people some of it at least.
I think
but
once you
might not be, you might not be the best spellcaster afterward, but I think it can teach you some spells at least.
Probably. You could get something out of it. And I think if you could figure out whatever that ingredient is that it probably doesn't know since it doesn't have magic, maybe you could actually do it very well if you could kind of figure out what's missing. But until you hit that point, it'd probably be the most frustrating experience of having, no, you are trying it wrong. Please attempt spell number 3 again. Just be pounding my head against the wall.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. What was that called? I think it was oh my god, I'm sorry. Now I forgot the name of it. We watched the Friends. I think it was Friends movie the other week.
Yeah.
Where it's also a sci-fi movie. It's like somebody wakes up in a like a cryo chamber and they can't get out, and there's something wrong in the cryo chamber, so it's running out of air. And there is an AI managing it, so she can talk to the AI and all that. And it's actually done really well because the AI just follows commands, right? So she has to think about how can I get out of this and find the right, because the AI knows it all the time, but it doesn't think about suggesting anything to her. That's not what it does. It just, if you ask it something, it will reply like, yes, I can do this, or no, cannot be done, or something. So, and it's quite interesting. And in the end, I'll not spoil anything. Well, it doesn't matter since I don't even know. I can't remember the name.
I can't go look it up.
Yeah. No, but at any rate, she comes up with a solution in the end that she could probably have done within the first 2 seconds if she had just thought of it.
Oh,
and that was actually quite neat.
That is kind of good. Oh, I like that. So, see, it's a very, again, you admit having an AI as a teacher could be a very interesting, horrible teacher. You'd have to be more clever.
Yeah, well, I did that. No, because I guess what I'm saying is that it's actually not that bad for a teacher, I think.
You just have to be able to outthink your teacher, which could be difficult.
Yeah. That is difficult, yes.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm glad you agree with me. So we'll go to your number 3.
You're putting words in my mouth now. Okay, so I don't know if I took the easy way out here with my number 3, but
What?
I really think this is going to be a very poor teacher.
Well, you better come up with a very good poor teacher. Or you're going to lose some points on taking an easy way out.
Oh, shit. Okay. So my number 3 is the wizard who were once very competent, perhaps one of the most skilled wizards in the realm. However, he has since turned into a complete and utter drunk.
Oh, God.
So I'm not just talking about someone who's like fond of a bit of alcohol and maybe a glass of wine in the evening and stuff. I'm talking about like somebody who's so drunk that he keeps falling on his ass all the time, all the time.
Oh, no.
So good luck learning any magic from that guy.
Yeah, you'd be like slurring his words. That's not how you say it.
Yeah.
You pronounce it like, what are you saying?
Correct.
That would
you have no idea what he's on about.
No, that I have to admit that would be pretty I think I would be walking away going, you just no. Give me your spell book and you don't deserve this. That'd be horrible.
Yeah, you're not gonna learn anything at all from that guy.
No, that would be a pretty bad teacher. And I could see like your parents, like when they set you up with this, I was like, if it's an internship or something, we got you the best mentor. It is the famous blah blah blah, and you find out he's like this smelly, drunk idiot. You're like, oh my god. Go home and tell your parents, no, just no. So, okay, it'd be an interesting story to write, but I think I'd get tired. If you didn't watch any of The Cursed, which I've talked about things I didn't like about it, but they do have, when the show starts, Merlin is completely drunk himself into having no magic, basically. Actually, sort of lost his magic. It's complicated, but Merlin starts out as a completely drunk wizard, and I'm like, oh, that's different take.
Yeah, that is different for sure. Yeah, so a very drunk wizard, that's not what you want to have around.
No,
not as a teacher, but not in general.
And especially if I think we talked about this before. Like, I think you had come up with a wizard who only could really perform magic like when he loosened up and was drunk. But so this is like the opposite. Can you imagine if you're this teacher, incredibly powerful magic, probably drunk so much he's hallucinating and still has magical abilities? So that'd just be bad. Diving through fireballs.
You're gonna be in the middle of the tavern, and he's gonna be like, "There's a dragon," and shoot a fireball across the room, and there's just nothing.
Yeah, you're like, it's the fireplace. Okay, it's not a dragon.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that would be fantastic way of learning magic. You learn to run and jump really well. Be in shape. All right.
Yeah, you learn how to avoid magic, not to use it.
Very much so. All right. You want to hear my number 3?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So I think a horrible magic teacher would be a fae. Any fae. Because they always require bribes. They always require some kind of payment. They speak in riddles. As we both know, they break electronics if they touch it, so don't ever hand them your cell phone. So they're temperamental, they're impatient. I mean, they're a bit elitist. You just don't want to learn from a fae, because, I mean, I could see you'd wake up in the morning and they have grown a hedge maze that you've got to travel through to learn something that they want to teach you. And by the time you arrive into the middle, they've already grown bored and went to a party. So, yeah, I just wouldn't want to learn from a fae. And that's just a normal fae. I mean, if you think you could have a banshee as a teacher, and if they're temperamental and angry and she shrieks, and then you blow your eardrums, possibly drop dead from a banshee. And then we have those little brownies like my Bramble, who, he's covered in spine, but secretly likes hugs. It's just, you just don't want to deal with fae. Just don't go there.
No, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh, you're not impressed. You just don't realize
temperamental
how
teacher that
loses interest.
But No, I understand. But do the Fae even know how to cast magic? Do they have magic?
Yes, most do, I think.
They do?
At least all the Fae I know do. It's more
like yourself.
nature magic. I'm not as temperamental. I must only be partially Fae. I think. Now I'm more... All right, now I'm going to have to sit down and have some soul searching. How Fae am I? Oh, what are you saying?
Yeah. 20% or 30% or...
Let's move on. Yeah. I'm feeling so self-conscious now.
Okay. All right, so you want my number 2 then?
I want your number 2. Let's move on. I changed my mind on my number 3.
Okay, my number 2 is quite a character.
All right.
Now, I'll have a sound clip of this guy in a second.
Oh no, oh really?
But let me first explain why he's such a terrible teacher.
Okay.
Okay? Well, first, these first traits I'm going to mention doesn't actually have anything to do with teaching as such, but it just shows why he is a really bad person. Okay. So, number 1, he is a horrible racist.
Ooh.
Number 2, he is homophobic.
That's horrible.
3, he is extremely arrogant.
Huh.
So those are not the best of qualities, I think we can agree. Right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I want to hang out with this person.
No. And what makes him a very poor teacher, though, is that he is rude and he is cruel.
Oh.
He is vindictive.
Oh.
And he actually enjoys humiliating his students.
Oh. That does not sound like a very healthy teacher.
No, and if that's not bad enough, this will give you a hint as to which character I'm talking about. So are you ready for this short sound clip here?
I'm listening.
Okay, and first, he might be insane as well. He might be insane as well because he has an alter ego in the form of a hand puppet.
What?
So maybe now you can sort of guess who that might be. But okay, I'm going to play the clip, but before I do so, just a warning here. This guy is not appropriate for some listeners, okay? So
if you have sensitive ears.
If you want... Yeah, if you have sensitive ears and if you want to, then please just skip 30 seconds ahead on your podcast app now. And then for the rest of us, buckle in because here we go.
All right, kids, it is now my job to teach you the theory of evolution.
Oh, boy!
Now, I, for one, think that evolution is a bunch of bull crap, but I've been told I have to teach it anyway. It was thought up by Charles Darwin, and it goes something like this. In the beginning, we were all fish, okay, swimming around in the water. And then one day, a couple of fish had a retard baby, and the retard baby was different, so it got to live. So retard fish goes on to make more retard babies, and then one day, a retard baby fish crawled out of the ocean with its mutant fish hands, and it had butt sex with a squirrel or something and made this. Retard frog squirrel, and then that had a retard baby, which was a monkey fish frog, and then this monkey fish frog had butt sex with that monkey, and that monkey had a mutant retard baby that screwed another monkey, and that made you. So there you go. You're the retarded offspring of 5 monkeys having butt sex with a fish squirrel. Congratulations.
What?
Can you hear who that is?
I actually totally lost. At first I thought I knew, but now I'm just completely confused. Just too shocked. I think it just, my brain went into a meltdown. Hyper lockdown mode going, just no. So, please, fill us in.
It's Mr. Garrison from South Park.
Oh, jeez. Okay. That's going way back. I have not watched South Park for a very long time. But now that you say that, it's there in my memory.
Extremely shitty teacher. You really don't want this lunatic teaching any magic.
No, I would hate to imagine if you would learn anything other than just sheer lawsuit ability.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't last long at the magical academy, I would hope. Well,
No, I just can't imagine him as a teacher with magic. That would be a nightmare. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
All right, well, that is legitimately a pretty horrible teacher. All right. I will... Now, my number 2 is slightly complicated, so you're going to have to stick with me on this one, okay?
Okay.
So, it's sort of a simple concept, but so your teacher is actually going to be a wizard that is traveling it through time in the reverse direction you are. To him, it's forward, but to us, it would be backward. So the last time you meet him, which is the first time he'll meet you, is you're going to be at your most powerful, and he's going to be like, I'm doing what? I have to teach you what? Tomorrow you're going to know less. So I have to teach you the spell you're doing now tomorrow. Right. So, but the first time you meet him, he's going to have been teaching you for 20 or 30 years and being like, don't worry, you don't understand it now. You'll get it in like 5 days. Don't worry about it. So it's just going to be complicated, or you can make it really complicated that you actually teach him magic until you switch, and then he's teaching you the magic you taught him later. So it becomes this infinity loop that's just going to blow your mind.
My brain is on fire.
I'm glad I could help you.
How is that even gonna work?
It's magic. Why not?
But the first time you meet him, he will think that you already know everything, so there's no reason to teach you. How do you even get to the end where you actually learned anything? Because he will never teach it to you.
Well, he will have been talking to you for 20 years, so he'll know. To you, it'll be the first day. It'll be like, oh my god, I don't know who you are. What are you talking about magic? And he's going to be like, look, I'm going to be your teacher for the next 30 years. Just get ready. You're going to figure this out. I'll be back tomorrow. So you're going to be like twice as annoyed because it's like, what? I don't understand this. And he's going to be all sappy because it's going to be the last day he's ever going to see you. So, and to you, it's the first day you're ever going to see him. And it's just going to be really crazy. It'll be probably fine in the middle, maybe not.
So he's aware that he's traveling in the opposite direction in time. Yes. He knows that then.
Yes, he knows it. So he's got to him it's forward, but to us it's backward. His timeline just goes in reverse compared to the way we see time.
So he's also getting younger?
I don't know. I didn't figure that one out. I guess no, he would be aging because to him it's his forward time. To us, it's backwards. To him, it's forward. Right.
Oh my god, my brain can't even comprehend how this is going to work.
Yes.
This is too complicated, Autumn.
I thought it was a fun... I had 2 days of 12 hours of nothing but rain, okay?
Well, you mentioned cabin fever before, and now I start seeing the symptoms.
Yes. Coming up with teachers who are traveling backwards in time, and especially when I thought of the loop where actually you're teaching him magic when he first meets you, and then eventually you switch and he's actually teaching you the magic you taught him, and it's just this lovely infinite loop of who actually knew magic first, because go figure that one out.
No, I can't. I still can't figure out how they are even going to learn anything, but okay.
Well, exactly. This is supposed to be your worst possible person to teach you magic.
Yeah, you might, but it's like when I watch the Terminator movies.
Oh, right.
It's the same thing. And also there I can get into the rabbit hole of trying to figure out, but how is this even working? So if they destroy the microchip in movie number 2, how did movie number 1 ever happen? And so I can get completely sucked into these rabbit holes.
You're overthinking it, but yes, that's all right.
Yeah.
Just agree it is a horrible teacher and we'll move on.
It is a bad teacher for sure, yes.
Okay, great. Excellent.
I can agree to that.
All right.
Okay, so you're ready for number 1.
Let's go to our top ones, our number ones. Yes, I'm ready.
And this one is sort of in the same vein as your dragon. It's not a dragon, but
Okay.
it is in the same vein in the sense that this teacher is also incredibly cool and would probably honestly be a very awesome teacher in some regard, but also incredibly dangerous. Okay.
Well, like,
So-
like a dragon, but not a dragon. Okay.
Not a dragon, no. And I have a recording of his voice here.
All right.
So I'm going to play it and then see if you can guess who this is, okay?
All right. So far, I haven't gotten any of the guesses, so we'll have to see.
No, that's why I like to keep putting questions forward, because you can't guess them.
So mean.
Okay, here we go. That was not his voice, that dog. That is yours.
That is mine. Hey.
It might have been a bit weird, like there's this voice and then the dog is like, what? Is it a
Well, I
dog?
think you set off the voice. I think set off my dog. We're gonna go with that. He was like, "What the heck? I must protect you from this thing."
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
So he's my
I have
guardian protector.
a few hints. If you feel lost, I have a few hints.
Well, it's like I would normally have thought it's a dragon. I was actually immediately of Smog. I'm like, but it's not a dragon. Is it Soren? Who is
It's
this?
not a dragon.
Okay, so
It's
who
not a
is
dragon,
this?
no.
All right.
Okay, hint number 1. He's also known as the Necromancer. Does that help?
No. Well, I mean, I
No?
still think it narrows down the potential list,
Okay.
and it's obviously
I have
been a
one more
movie.
hint.
All right.
Yes, it has been a movie. That's correct.
All right. No, yeah. What's the next hint?
The next hint is what you just heard was the Black Speech of Mordor.
So it is like Soren, or if not, I can't think of who. But yeah, I knew it was Lord of the Rings at least.
Okay.
I did get that. All right. So which one is it from Lord of the Rings? Now you're gonna make me go back and watch the entire
Sauron.
movies. I said it was Sauron. You didn't say.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Sauron.
All right. I did
So-
guess right.
Yeah, okay, in a roundabout way, I guess so. But
I will replay the clip. I said what I said. I thought it was Smog, and then I thought, okay, it's not a dragon, it's Sauron. So I will replay. I got it.
did you say it? Okay,
I
maybe I
did.
talked over you then. Because okay, fine. Okay, then you guessed it. But
Yay! Yeah.
while this guy definitely can teach you a lot,
Yeah.
it will also end in your own doom.
Yeah. He will suck out your soul.
Yeah. Yeah. Tolkien actually said that absolute evil couldn't exist, but he then stated that Sauron came as near to a wholly evil will as was possible.
Wow.
So Tolkien said that. So do you want that guy to teach you?
Not without a lot of magical protection, and even then it would be pretty desperate. That would be really bad. Yeah, I think I like my soul too much to want to have Sauron as my instructor for the. But talk about learning dark magical arts, you would be like rock star.
But that's what I meant, right? In terms of he probably can teach you a lot. In that sense, he's probably an awesome teacher. But
Yeah,
you're gonna get sucked into darkness by doing it.
yeah, probably.
But,
That it. You know, if you wanted to be evil, it would probably be a good fit. But since he's immortal, you're never going to take his place, and it's just not going to end well at all.
no, not really. and in that sense, it's. I would say maybe it is a bit worse than the dragon, because with the dragon you just get killed. Here
Right.
you have to suffer for
Eternity.
all the way
probably.
through all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be pretty bad. So that is a very good number 1, I will admit. It's hard. Sauron is pretty much a trump card for... It's like saying, Darth Vader is going to teach you the Force. You're like, well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
He tends to
Indeed.
kill all of his pupils, but, if you survive, you'll be great.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I don't know. That is a pretty good. That is. I still have the dragon though, so I think we're pretty even. So you want to hear my number one?
Okay, let me hear it.
So this is sort of actually along the lines of one of yours, but it's a sorceress that isn't good at explaining things, but isn't really good at demonstrating. She just loves to demonstrate. So you can imagine her coming in and going, "Okay, class, today we're going to learn to turn an attacker into a slime mold. Volunteers?" And someone would always have to be the victim to get turned into whatever warts, hawks, curses, hexes that are being demonstrated that day. And I mean, if I was in the class, I would just live in fear of the day you actually get to the ones that could possibly kill you. And her like, "And who would like to volunteer for the death spell? Don't worry, we'll learn the reincarnation one right after snack."
Later. Yeah. Next semester, we'll learn reincarnation.
Yes, but we'll keep you cryogenically frozen until then. And be like, "Oh, no." Can you imagine your parents' permission slip for her?
Oh, yeah. But and then if there's no volunteers, she will pick somebody at random.
Of course, that's what a good teacher always does.
Yeah.
Just goes in the one who's sliding in the back, the closest, like, "No, don't look at me."
Please, not me. Not me. Not again.
Yeah. Oh, well. So that is my number one. I just think she would be...
That will be bad.
A horrible teacher to learn from. I would... The anxiety of going to a class with that kind of a teacher and with magic would just be... I think I'd crack. Definitely, I'd run away.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think there's like, it looks like both our list is, most of it will just get you killed, basically.
You had soul sucking for your number one, but yeah, pretty much any of this is either you're not going to learn magic or you're going to die learning magic.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. I struggle to see which list is the worst, to be honest.
I kind of agree. These are both... this is a pretty bad top 10 list. I have to admit, I would not want to learn from Soren, but there's pretty much any of these. Like I said, a sorceress who likes to demonstrate. I could just imagine going to class every day with a teacher you hated that would potentially turn you into something nasty and hopefully turn you back. I mean, can you imagine acting out in her class what she would do to you?
Oh yeah, indeed, yeah. Yeah, or even a lunatic like Mr. Garrison, what he would do to you if you didn't listen to what he said.
Yeah, I and especially his lack of passion for teaching the subject well would just kind of end in frustration, I think.
Yeah. I don't believe in magic at all, but they tell me I have to teach it to you, so I will.
So, open your books. We're going to then... Oh, shoot. Just get rid of the books. I hate books. You just keep going.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, well. Yeah,
oh my
I
god,
agree.
yeah. So I don't know who won this one.
I don't know. This was actually pretty good. I think, again, we'll have to leave it up to the listeners, and they will have to let us know who had the best list, since you want it to be the whole list. I still think Dragon, but then Soren, they're pretty even this time.
Sauron beats a dragon, but
Never.
Yes, he does. He can kill a dragon by snapping his finger.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But the problem is the rest of the list. There, I'm not quite sure which one is the best.
Yeah,
so if we go by your rules, that is only about the best in the list, then I won. But you said that you trusted me in that the fact that I was remembering correctly that it's about the entire list. That's what you said, and therefore I'm not sure who won. Yeah? Or do you want to contradict that I was wrong and it was not about the entire list and it was only about the best one on it? Do you want to contradict that?
I will say we agree to the ground rules for this one was only about the whole list. I have to go back and check on the earlier podcast on the worst lists. But so this one, we set it up that it's the whole list, and I don't think we can change it at this point, unfortunately. So, and they're both pretty even lists. I'm not sure who's going to be the winner. We'll have to flip a coin and hope it's on a magic coin that's been hexed so that the winner gets the worst. I'm not sure.
No. Okay, so next Monday we are going back into writing and we'll share some great tips on how to write well. Simple as that, and looking very much forward to it.
If you like what you just heard, there's a few things you can do to support the Writing Fantasy podcast. Please tell a fellow author about the show and visit us at Apple Podcast and leave a rating and review. You can also join Autumn and Jasper on patreon.com/AmWritingFantasy. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get awesome rewards and keep the Writing Fantasy podcast going. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.